Hello here, Terrence Popp from the Lair. Got some, gonna finish up some ghost stories here for you. Again, this is Abu Ghraib prison. The room I was living in used to be a shower. All right, that's what I thought it was. Until we used to have an intel analyst. She used to come hang out with one of my soldiers. I'm not gonna say his name. She got killed on December 5th, 2004. Roadside bomb. But you know, they would hang out, and I would come out, and she'd be like, hey, First Sergeant Popp, are you living in there? I'm like, yeah. You know what that is, right? I'm like, yeah, it's a shower. No, that's the acid dip room. So I'm like, what? I didn't believe her. So the next day she comes back with a CD and shows me the footage of them dipping this fucker in acid until he fucking died. And like literally my bunk is right fucking there. They'd ripped down the tank and it was right fucking there. So that really fucked with me. I wasn't the only one that heard this too. You'd hear, like, remember I was telling the first batch of stories about the murmuring that you hear? You know, people are talking, but you can't really understand what they're saying. Now, normally, you know, where we were staying, there was a lot of guys there. So if people are murmuring, it wasn't a big deal. Unless they're talking in Arabic. Because there really wasn't any Arabic speakers inside the wall in our prison block, period. Especially around my guys. I know none of my guys spoke any Arabic, so I don't know what the fuck that was about. But that happened a couple of dozen times. Some of it was worse than others. Some of it would sound like it's like in the next room, and sometimes I'd be by the window and I could hear it and it'd sound like it coming from the courtyard. But yeah, that was pretty fucking creepy. And then I was talking to some of my buddies about this who were there with me, and they told me to mention the shadows. I don't know if this is some kind of tactic that the supernatural used to get a pass, but like if you're in a well-lit room and this jet black shadow shows up out of nowhere, you're pretty much going to jump out of your skin and shit yourself, and you can't really reason that away because it's like bang, there it is. But if it's already dark, it's already like, not a lot of light, and you see something, go across a doorway real quick, or you walk in and you see your shadow with the light behind you, and then there's another one that just kind of dips off. You could, a lot of guys, to keep from, what little sanity we had left, would rationalize it to like, it's just a play on light. I don't fucking think so. Now, I never saw anything straight up. Okay, I never saw anything like that. But I saw shit out of the corner of my eyes probably once or twice every 2 or 3 days. It'd always be dark. And I remember I'm walking out of the corner of your eye, you see like a head pop around the corner and you look and it's not there. I mean, come on. I mean, I've been on this earth a while. I know when fucking people are looking at me, it is what it is. Guys would see some shadows moving around out there in the mass grave area. But again, at night, you could basically justify that to be pretty much anything. Bird or a bat flew through a light, because they had overhead lights, generators and stuff. And they would always turn on the lights when the choppers would want to land or something, which I try to tell them not to because it's dangerous for the chopper pilots. But hey, fuck you, Popp. What does a fucking triple tab 2 war guy know anyway? So fuck off. Fuck yeah, that really fucking creeped me out. I'm glad I never saw any of that shit up front, man. Fuck that. Now this one is gonna fuck with some people out there, and this is about the scream. And this happened. It didn't happen all the time, but it happened enough to fuck with people. And again, there's really no reason for this to happen, but every now and again, we would hear a woman screaming at the top of her fucking lungs. And it didn't go on for a long amount of time. It went on for maybe 2 to 3 seconds. Enough to fucking, wake people up or, send people down investigating, what the fuck was that? Holy shit. I mean, I heard it one time too. And I remember because, like, I heard it, there was like 6 other guys there, and they all looked at me and said, "You heard that, right, First Sergeant?" I'm like, "Yeah." And they're all freaking out. I'm like, "Well, don't just fucking stand there, fan out, and find out what the fuck that was." But we never found anything. Yeah, dude, that whole ghost fucking thing is fucking creepy. Brings back a lot of bad memories. I'm trying to remember. Well, I remember I mentioned the first one I grew up in a haunted house, so I'll throw that in here too, you know. I grew up in Berkeley, Michigan, you know, basically from 8th grade on until I graduated high school. And we moved into, what was a 3-bedroom, 1 bath with a half basement bungalow thing. It was a pretty old house. It used to be it was a Sears kit house that was built back in like the 20s or something. Pretty good deal, I guess. And I never saw anything but strange shit happen. Now, when we moved in the house, it was 2 lesbians lived there for 20 some odd years before we moved in. One died in the property and one died in a home like 8 to 10 years later. And the house was fucked up. We had to redo the whole thing. Some of the things that stick out in that house, in the middle of winter, no windows would be open, and 1 or 2 doors would slam shut upstairs violently. Come on, all right. That happened pretty much once or twice a year for the entire time I was there. And once in the middle of the night, my mother had one of those glass cake tins, or not tins, but it's a pedestal you put a fucking thing on, you put a cake in there. But it sat in a groove inside the glass, so it was airtight. And it was up on top of the fridge, moved to the back of the refrigerator, and it had paper plates, napkins, and paper towels around it, so it couldn't really move. Like 2 in the morning, for no reason whatsoever, the top of that thing shatters on the kitchen floor. And I come down there with my M1 Garand, you know, like, hey, I got M1 Garand, shoots through the fucking floor. If you're out here, get the fuck out. And I walk down there and I find the shit all fucked up. Can't explain it. That happened another time, but this time the doors of the cabinet opened and 2 or 3 glasses broke on the kitchen floor. Very disturbing. Very disturbing. And, you know, that's just all like, you know, cosmetic kind of shit. We were in that house maybe a year. It was me, my mother, and my sister were watching the show on TV. And my sister was sitting on this one chair. It was like a couch chair kind of. And all of a sudden she falls on the ground and starts flopping like a fish. And she's covered in blood. Like, what the fuck is this? So I'm trying to find out where she's cut, you know, and it had like a little puncture hole in the back of her arm. And I put my thumb on it to stop the bleeding. It stopped pretty much right away. But the amount of blood that was there, it just didn't seem to, you know, justify just that one little tiny pinprick. It was insane. And you know, my mother, that one got my mother's attention, because up until that point, she's like, you guys are just full of crap. There's nothing going on here. And there's a couple of the times the dining room chandelier moved around a little bit while we're all watching TV. I had a dog that would bark and go absolutely apeshit at nothing. Nothing. Just, her name was, I called her Piper. Her named after Roddy Piper. And she would just go absolutely berserk over nothing. And then I had my friend Rich used to stay at my house pretty much all through high school because he didn't get along with his stepdad. And he slept on the floor. And he said, you know, he could hear people walking up and down the stairs all night because his fucking head's right there on the ground. That was pretty fucking disturbing. But man, oh man. Oh, that's another creepy one. This happened during the Panama invasion. Philip Lair, one of the Rangers there in 1989. He got killed by an AK-47. I pulled security while 2 other Rangers went and got him on the Skidco. He was hit with an AK-47 right to one side of his throat, and it exited the bottom of his skull, killed him instantly. And I remember they dragged him in there, and then they put the light on him, and he just did not look like anybody that we knew. And I remember they took the dog tag, and they looked at it, and they looked at him, and they're like, it doesn't fucking match. It's not him. And then they pulled out his ID card. He had his ID card and his dog tag on him. And the name on the shirt, I mean, it is what it is. So when you have KIAs, you don't put them next to wounded people, because then you wind up with more dead people. So they put Raratum in a poncho, and they moved him off to a back room that was behind where I was pulling security at. I had left that post like 2 or 3 times to go pull security for other extractions, for other guys who were wounded. When the sun came up, I'm looking out there, you know, pulling security 10 to 2 out of my window. And I look behind me, and for a good 3 fucking seconds, just plain as fucking day, I saw Lair standing over his own body. You know? I mean, literally, he was about, the room was 20 feet away. He was on the side of a glass door. There was no other entrance or exits other than a window. And I took a good double take. He was there for a second, and then he was gone. This whole fucking ghost thing, and I mean, there's something to it. I don't know. Sooner or later, we're all gonna find out one way or another. Some guys can read whatever they want into that. I don't care. But you know, you travel the world enough, you see some crazy ass shit, and some of it is fucking pretty goddamn unexplainable. Anyway, you guys have a good night, and I'll talk to you later.